The dawn of civilization. Primitive. Dangerous. Exciting. The handwriting is on the wall. If the human race is ever going to amount to anything, it needs
the most civilized caveman I have ever seen.
Look who's come out of his cave.
This is James from Cave Dweller Music, and I have Brendan, my co-host, with me tonight. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Tonight we have Steve Miller, Nathan, and Allison from Burning Sister. Thanks for coming on the show. It's good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, good to be here.
Hell yeah.
So if anyone doesn't know Burning Sister, they are a fuzz peddling band from Denver, Colorado. Do you guys want to just tell us a little bit about your music and what each of you do in the band?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Steve. I play bass and also do vocals. Kind of just got together about 3 years ago. It really started off with just bass and drums for a while we looked for a guitar player. And then, I don't know, we just try to play heavy music, a lot of fuzz, a lot of noise. I used to be like, back in the 90s, really into like the kind of like noise bands, stuff like that. So I try to incorporate a lot of that. But also, I mean, I'm a huge classic rock fan, so sometimes that comes through, I think. But yeah, I mean, that's just basically it. Just been a lifelong fan of music and love listening to it, and now I love playing it.
Awesome.
And I'm Allison. I play drums in the band.
And I'm Nathan. I joined the band a few months ago now, I guess. Played several gigs with them now. But I play guitar for them.
I wanted to talk to you guys, obviously, because you just recently brought out a new album. Mile High Down a Rock came out on November 4th. And from what I have seen, because for anyone who's listening who doesn't know this, I did PR for the album. Reception has been fantastic.
Yeah, we're super impressed. Definitely how it's been really well received, and even like live shows, like people start to know some of the songs from the release, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's definitely good. I've listened to it probably 5 times now. It's good.
Cool.
It's diverse. It's got, I don't know. I love the what track is it? SIB and then or SIB.
Yeah.
And then all of them are really great too. But that one and the Acid Night Vision. Love that song.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Acid Night Vision, if I'm right, is the first single you put out on the album, right?
Yeah. And that was kind of a little bit of a turning point where, like, you know, I personally, I'm not like a lifelong musician. Like I've had a bass guitar in my closet since like I was in high school, but I just got serious about it probably about 8 or 9 years ago. So yeah, I mean, just that was probably the first song where I like felt like, hey, maybe I can write a song, and you know, maybe things can come together. But it's kind of weird because I mostly compose things on bass guitar, which I don't know, it doesn't seem super typical, but we somehow make it work.
I think it kind of works for this style of music. Like there's a lot of other genres you probably struggle with that, but I think with like the stoner, doom, fuzz laden stuff, it makes sense to have a bass as your foundation.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I love bass heavy bands.
Yeah, and that's one thing, like we went into recording, like that's one thing I like about a lot of like the 70s bands, like especially the 3 pieces, like all the instruments kind of have like equal weight, where in a lot of like modern production, sometimes I can't even hear the bass. So that's like one thing I kind of insisted on. And then hopefully it's the same thing when we play live. Hopefully it kind of comes through, but yeah, definitely dig the bass.
So
instrument.
Yeah.
I know that you had Tad Doyle from Witch Ape Studios master the album as well. That's pretty big name to have attached to it.
Yeah. I've been a fan of Tad's for a long time. Like obviously loved his music in the 90s with the band Tad. But also like Brothers of the Sonic Cloth is completely amazing. So, you know, when I was actually talking to some dudes in another band, and they recommended for mastering either to get Tad Doyle or James Plotkin, and so I just reached out to Tad, and he was like all about it, and gave me like a really good like time frame and where he could turn it over, and it just kind of really worked out.
That's awesome. So the album is essentially it's kind of like an evolution of your sound over the span of your career, right? I mean, it's not all compiled at one point. This has been written over quite a long period of time.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny that like Brendan, you said you really liked SIB because that's probably actually the very first song that we kind of wrote when I was like, I don't know, maybe we could pull off being a two-piece. But
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I almost wanted to leave it off the album because to me it seemed kind of basic and just I don't know, we kind of evolved past it. But you know, when I do actually listen to it, I was like, hey, it is actually pretty cool.
Yeah. It's
So,
like it's just it's a good long like kind of like it's a ride, you know?
yeah. And a lot of that actually kind of came out during the recording process. Like, you know, last minute, I was like, man, we should layer some like synth into this and try to build it up a little bit. And I think it really added to the song. But as far as the whole album, I mean, there's probably I think 3 tracks on there, like Cloven Tongues. That was like probably the second track that we wrote. Started working on that as a 2-piece. And then Leather Mistress is probably the first song that we wrote when Drake joined the band. And then the rest came after that, after we'd been jamming for a while.
Nice.
How long before that did you before those songs did you write your EP, the self-titled Burning Sister one?
Actually, like the chronology, there's a lot of overlap. Like I would say there are songs on the EP that are like later than some of the ones on the LP.
Okay, interesting.
We just picked and chose, I think, what we liked and what we thought sounded good. So yeah, they're not very chronological in terms of like where we are.
I think you picked well, because I think that the way that you end up breaking them up between the EP and this it actually feels quite cohesive.
Yeah.
And that EP was actually one of the first full albums we ever uploaded on our YouTube channel when we were first sort of starting, because that came out the year we founded Cave Dweller Music, actually.
Yeah, that's funny because Nathan was kind of asking about your background, and I was, we're talking about Cave Dweller, and I was like, yeah, man, I was like, they're the first people that even bothered with the EP at all. So yeah, I do definitely want to thank you for that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
definitely glad we connected there.
Yeah, and then of course when you announced that you were going to get into PR, like I was like, hey, I know this guy. He's super cool. Digs what we're doing. So I didn't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. It's been a lot of fun working with you guys in this. I actually really liked the way that you released the album with the individual singles broken up throughout the year. So I think it's kind of shown that tactic's been done more and more lately, and it kind of pays off because you kind of had some hype on the album leading up to the actual release where people were aware of the singles, which is awesome.
Yeah. Some of those singles were pretty well received. But it was also a waiting game because I knew we were kind of waiting on records to be pressed. So
right,
it was
of course.
Kind of, obviously I'm a huge Doom fan, so I got a lot of patience. But it was just kind of really, the wait was almost too much.
How long was it?
I think the turnaround was like 9 months, which actually isn't too bad. I think there's maybe some places now that are boasting like faster turnaround times, but at the time, it just seemed like it would take forever, but I also thought if I release the album now and then wait for vinyl for 9 months, like, people might not be as interested.
Right.
Yeah, no, good call. And make sure you save me one of those because I'm going to order one of those as soon as I get paid next week.
Nice.
I have to own it if I promoted it, That's the law, right?
Yeah. It makes a great Christmas present, so you can get it for your whole family.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so just to change gears slightly, we're going to look back a little bit. I want to ask you guys, obviously you mentioned, Steve, that you were influenced to some extent by noise rock, but each of you, I just kind of wanted to ask, like, what influenced you musically and sort of what's your musical background? What got you into heavier and more alternative music? Whoever wants to start.
I can start. I don't have a huge music background, but I have a dance background. So Steve knew that I could count, and so he figured that I could transition to drums pretty easily.
I mean, more than counting. Like I know you have rhythm. That's probably more important than
So I would say I'm newer to the musical instrument, but it's just a heck of a lot of fun to play. And then I would say I have been hanging out with Steve for a while, and a lot of my musical influences actually just come from stuff that he's playing.
Okay.
Nathan is really thirsty right now.
So yeah.
So yeah, guitar playing, I've been doing it for quite a while, I guess like 25 years now or something
Wow.
like that. So yeah, I just grew up playing like punk music, old school metal, classic rock. Started on bass, then moved over to guitar and played in a bunch of bands and all kinds of bands, and it's always kind of gravitated more towards like the heavy side of things, but then I've also played in country bands and shit like that too. So
What's the most fun to play? Like a country
Um,
band or like a punk rock band?
huh. They're all fun in their own ways. I mean, like
Yeah.
the guitar playing in country is fun to do, but it's like kind of like a circus trick sometimes too. But yeah, it's just I think it's just cool like to play in like bands with cool vibes.
Yeah.
Just walking in with good drummers, good bass players, and I think that's the most fun part for me.
Yeah, and I would say as far as getting into heavy music, I mean, I've been a music fan. I got my first cassettes like in kindergarten, and kind of my music, it was always metal like when I was younger, but by the time I got to high school, I was like really listening to a lot of like industrial music, like Skinny Puppy, Ministry.
Skinny Puppy.
Yeah, and I still love them. I don't listen to them a lot anymore, but
Yeah.
I definitely go see them.
I remember them in high school, hanging out with people that was, yeah.
Yeah, and other like Front 242, like that whole scene, like really into it. And then all of a sudden, like I think the band that turned it around for me was probably Mudhoney, to be honest. And I was like, man, these guys got it figured out. Like this is really good, and kind of led me into Doom because a lot of the Mudhoney stuff can be pretty slow and heavy too. And then I kind of I gravitated towards bass. I mean, I knew a lot of guitar players like in high school, so bass seemed obvious. But I mean, as far as interest, like influences, I mean, listen to Sabbath, and I mean, like Geezer totally stands out. There's a noise band called Steel Pole Bathtub, and their bass player had like a really cool distorted tone. And then I really like Kim Deal's playing in the Pixies. It's pretty simple. And then Naomi from the band Galaxy 500 also like really turned me on to bass. I mean, pretty interesting. She plays really high and like really melodic, and it's still pretty simple, but I was like, man, that just sounds beautiful. Like I want to do that.
Yeah, definitely that 90s noise scene has some of the best bass ever, in my opinion. I love that stuff.
Yeah. I've been on a search to try to figure out what some of those guys used, and I can't figure out. Some people say it's like an old like Behringer like DS1 clone or whatever, but
Just
doesn't
ask
sound anything like that.
I was talking to someone about this the other day, and it's like we both kind of came to the realization that noise rock is actually more of a niche genre than metal. It's like when you think about it, there's actually it's actually more targeted to a smaller group of people, and there's a smaller fan base in general for noise rock than metal as a genre.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then I mean, some of the bands everybody knows, like obviously like Melvins back then I would consider them a noise band, but there's so many that are under the radar even now. It's like it's kind of a shame.
Yeah, and there's so many one-hit wonders. There's just like all these like obscure bands that did like one really good album and then just disappeared.
Right. Noise
Did you
rock
listen, guys?
I remember I used to Unsane was a great band.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing them in February, by the way.
Oh, nice.
That was a great one from back in the day, man.
It's only $14 to see Unsane.
Awesome.
And I was like, as if I'm not going to go to that.
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
kind of have to. And their videos are crazy.
Yes. And some of their album art, they've had some crazy album covers over the years.
Yeah. Some of like the new stuff too that's like considered noise rock is really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Chat Pile.
Yes, Chat Pile is fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't checked them out yet, but I know I've heard of them. They're definitely getting a lot of good press lately.
If you liked that 90s noise stuff, check out a UK band as well called Dead Mammals.
Wait, what's it called?
Dead Mammals.
Okay.
They're like very much based on that like 90s noise sound stuff. There's like the industrial tinge to it.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'm always a fan like of if anybody, especially the bands that can like bring in a lot of dissonance and make it sound good and not too overbearing. That's always a plus.
Yes. Yep. What about do you listen to Uniform?
No, I never have.
Oh, really? Okay. So
Very
Uniform, the dude came originally, I'm pretty sure, I want to say from the hardcore scene in New York.
Okay.
So it's got like a hardcore background to it, but then he shifted into like a noise industrial sort of style. And it's just like really harsh feedback, really distorted vocals, super basic. There was two guys originally, but now there's three. Their album, The Long Walk, if you're going to listen to anything, listen to that. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
got to
one,
see
right,
them
Brendan?
live last year.
Oh, really? I didn't know you saw them live.
Yeah, they played with Body Void and my God, I'm blanking on the name. They did the album Christ Fucker.
Is it? Oh, yeah, it's Portrayal of Guilt.
Betrayal of Guilt, yes. So they
Mhm.
did a show in Connecticut and I got to see it. It was awesome.
That would have been loud.
Yeah, it was good.
It's like that the show I went to, it was Body Void, Primitive Man, and Jarhead Fertilizer.
Yeah.
That was a loud show.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Uniform is good. They're like droney too. Like it's definitely neat. Really good.
Yeah.
Worth checking out.
yeah, it's like super minimalist, but also really abrasive. It works.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna like primitive. I have. You've actually seen Primitive Man too, but they're probably the most oppressive band I've ever. ever
Oh
had
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's
Yep. It's hard to beat that. That is just like a soul crushing wall of noise.
I know.
Yeah.
I felt like I wanted to crawl out of my skin like the entire time. But I mean,
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, just the level of like feedback and distortion is insane. And then his vocals are like unreal.
the
Yeah,
monster.
I don't know how he can sustain that for 45 minutes straight.
I know. It sounds like it feels like it must be like shredding his vocal cords apart. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to check them for the first time live for me in April.
Oh, nice.
I'm making that happen.
What about you guys? Have you got any shows coming up that you guys are attending or excited about?
We just played this past weekend. We had our record release show, and then we're probably gonna cool it a little bit so we can hopefully record a EP, and then just working on some other new tunes as well.
Nice.
Nice.
Now, I guess if something came along and it was like too good to turn down, then I would definitely jump at it. But currently, not really looking to play.
I mean, that makes
Have you
sense. Most people kind of tone it down a bit around this time of year anyway.
Yeah.
But what about like attending? Are you guys going to any shows as like a bystander or I guess like a fan?
Yeah, I try to make it out. I try to make it out to a lot more like local shows and just kind of support because Denver has a lot of like really good bands and they're all pretty supportive, especially like the heavy bands, and then even some of the bands that aren't as heavy. So I try to check out local bands as much as I can. As far as bigger bands,
Sun O in January.
yeah, Sun's coming in January. I still haven't seen them.
Oh man.
And me either.
But Nathan speaks very highly of their live show.
Yeah,
Worth
that'd be
worth
great.
worth attending, seeing them live.
What's that?
Is it worth seeing them live?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're into their music at all, for sure, like seeing it live is like something like it just takes it over the top. So they're
Nice.
so loud in a good way.
Like loud is like the loudest you've ever seen.
I don't know. This primitive man is really loud.
Yeah, they're pretty freaking loud too.
Yeah. But I mean
Yes.
it's two different kinds of loud though, because the like Sun O is just like walls and walls of sound.
Yeah.
And then the room's just like full of, smoke, and it's just like it's an experience on its own. So
I actually saw a Funeral Doom band live last week, and I'd never actually seen Funeral Doom live before. And I know exactly what you mean with like the wall of noise, where it
yeah.
just builds and builds and builds, and it actually gets to a point where it's like it's a lot. And
It
you're like,
like
oh
yeah,
man,
it messes with your heart maybe a little, and
yeah, it feels like it does. Your chest starts, you get like a heart arrhythmia thing going.
yeah. But that's what's cool about it.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, yeah, it was a cool experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
that's
mentioned,
actually happened to me kind of. Well, are you guys familiar with the band Goya?
Yeah, I love
no.
them. From
Yeah,
Phoenix, Arizona.
they're really cool. They played Denver with I think it was in the Company of Serpents. I experienced that same thing. Like it was so loud, I thought my like chest was like caved in, and I was like, oh my God, I can't catch my breath. I was like, do I need to step away for a second? But then
They're
I
one
just
of
got
my.
used to it.
I'd love to see them live. They're one of my like all-time faves. I love those guys.
Yeah, they're pretty great.
Harvester, Bong Loads, and oh man, so good. Such an awesome album.
Yeah, I like Satan's Fire EP is really good too.
Yeah, that one's good.
It
And
was a
then
little noisy.
the Forever Dead, Forever Stoned,
Yep, yep.
or vice versa. Forever Stoned, Forever Dead, or yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that one. So good. It's so good.
you mentioned before local bands in Denver supporting you and you supporting them. So is there anyone that we should check out from Denver?
I was gonna ask that too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I take it back.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of great bands. I would say probably at the top of my list would be Nebuchadnezzar. Yeah, these dudes are amazing. And we've become pretty close with them, and they have an offshoot band called Ice Troll. So we've played a lot of shows with those guys, and they're super nice, but their music is amazing. They've also just come out with a newer album, and then they've released a 7-inch, which is really good. And then I would also highly recommend Alamo Black, which Nathan is also guitarist and singer in.
Oh,
Yep.
Yep. That's actually how we met. We actually met at shows. Like he came to see Burning Sister a few times, and then I'd go to see Alamo Black. And then we kind of just struck up a friendship like that. But yeah, I'd highly recommend him. For me, like he's a great singer, and they're just like really melodic and pretty damn heavy too.
Nathan, do you want to tell us a little bit about the band? You're welcome to plug them as well while you're on here.
Oh man. Sure. Yeah, so yeah, me and the drummer Daniel, we moved out here from Nashville about 5 years ago. So yeah, we've written a few albums and put them out there, and we've also done like a few tours. We've done like we usually do like 2 weeks on the road. We just came back in June from doing like Arizona, New Mexico, California, Washington, Oregon. Just did like a 2 week run, just playing shows. We're in the middle of writing another record right now. We've just been recording kind of song by song and hope to finish it up at the beginning of next year. So
Nice.
yeah,
Awesome.
it's all like that classic rock and then also doom. Because it's still melodic, but then we also like try and bring in the heavier stuff and slower tempos in our music. So still some of the doom aspect, but still have like classic rock influences for that too. So.
Like proto doom type stuff.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know what you call it.
Nice.
It's hard to like describe your child.
Of course.
Well, yeah, the drummer in Alamo Black is also in another great band called Astronaut.
Yeah, which they're playing this weekend.
It's a pretty big show too.
Yeah, they're playing with the Heavy Eyes out of Memphis and Cloudcatcher from here. Yeah.
Oh, I know Cloudcatcher.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be a good show.
There was a really good doom like stoner sludge band. Brendan, what was that band called from Denver? You wanted to buy the poster It was like the album cover was like purple and orange. It had a picture of like the dude breaking out of the earth. Do you remember? You know what I'm talking about, Brendan? You were like really into them, and then they split up, and you were really bummed about it. Yes, Earth Diver. That's it.
Yes.
And we just played with
Yes.
the bass player from that band. He has another band. Oh,
Yeah.
it was the drummer too.
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay, no, he's in the band too.
Yeah, so those guys are like in a couple bands now. So Earth Diver, sadly, is no more because they were amazing.
Yeah. If
Wow.
they still have a vinyl on their Bandcamp, I want to snag it. I know it was like, I don't know if they have any left.
Yeah, they
They do not.
Oh, they're out.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. They don't. They have CDs though, Brendan.
Yeah, I should do that. I bought the digital, but I mean, I should really get a physical. It was good. I love it. That'd be like, it's like a really great like blacklight poster, like from like, it'll remind you of like your teenager years, you know?
Yes. Yep. Awesome album cover.
I can imagine that, like, you know, like all like raised up and velvety.
But yeah, so the bass player from Earth Diver, he's in a couple bands that are both active. So Lord Velvet is amazing, and we played a show in Laramie, Wyoming. We went like last month, 2 months ago?
Yeah, October.
So we kind of want to start playing more regionally. So we asked them along, and we played Laramie, and those guys were amazing. And then the drummer and the bass player from Earth Diver in a band called Megatheria, and they're all instrumental and pretty mind-blowing. It's like Russian circles, but for me personally, they're better.
Wow.
Megatheria.
Yeah. So I don't think they don't have any like recorded output yet, but they've played 2 shows for recently.
Okay. Sorry, we lost connection for like a second there. It's back. Sorry about that.
So yeah, those are some of the like really cool local bands. There's another one, Electric Condor, is really cool. They're a little more like, I don't know what you say, Queens of the Stone Age type.
Yeah, they're more dancey.
Yeah, but
that's
also really good.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, puts on like killer performance. And then of course, like In the Company of Serpents, I'm a huge fan of.
Oh yeah, they are good.
And that's, you know, I'm originally from like the Detroit area. When I first moved out here, that's like the first like Denver band that I really got into.
Denver's scene is just absolutely
I love Oryx.
Exploded.
Yeah, Oryx is cool. Actually, first time I saw them, they were with Primitive Man, so it was a pretty intense show.
Yeah. Ethan did a noise track on their latest album. Or not, I don't know about their latest album. They did release something newer, I think, recently, but their album before that, he did some work on that. Awesome stuff.
Brendan, I just realized we are past the halfway point. So do you want to ask your questions? I know you always have a few lined up.
Oh, yeah. No, you're good. Yeah, we can do that. I was going to say, in the Company of Serpents, I have I gave you, I think, James, when we met, their rolling papers.
Yes. Yep.
You have the rolling papers there.
Yes, I remember that.
Yep. It's a good band. But nonetheless, well, we were talking about Red Rocks. Have you guys played there yet?
That's probably the funniest question we'll hear all year. I wish. No, I'd be surprised if I'll ever play there.
Yeah, no, you can do it. Why not? I think it would be so sweet, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if any Doom bands ever played there.
I don't know. It's usually a bunch of like EDM stuff and
Mastodon has played there.
Okay, Mastodon. That's close.
They're not Doom.
They just did the South Park 25-year special there. And they had Ween, Rush, and Primus all play together.
Huh.
Yeah,
that'd be sweet.
Didn't Matt Stone play drums for Rush?
He did, yeah. It was actually honestly, it's worth watching. Like even if you're not a fan of the show, music wise, it's worth watching.
Oh, I bet.
But I love the show. So
yeah, who doesn't love that? It's such a good show.
It is.
Right on. Well, where's your favorite place to play live? Like your favorite venue? Like,
I'm going to defer to Nathan on this one. You've played probably more shows than I have.
In Denver, I like to play the high dive.
The high dive.
Yeah, it's a smaller, more intimate venue. So I mean, it's still club size. So that way, it's like you're closer to the crowd, and they have good sound there. They have a cool bar. Yeah, smaller venue.
But they also get a lot of good bands in there.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen I've seen Elder there. I've seen Monolord there.
Ooh,
Nice.
Yeah, it's just like a good smaller venue. You see awesome bands at.
nice.
And I'd say for me personally, that's probably like we had Burning Sister has not played there, but I'd totally be into it. It's a cool place.
We can play there.
But as far as I don't know, there's a place called Bar, and it's probably the biggest dive bar I've ever been in, in any city. But we seem to always play good there. We've had a lot of good shows, but they're currently not able to put on gigs. They're just operating as a bar currently. But
Dang.
I've seen a lot of good bands there too. Even some they'll get bands from out of town. But yeah, that's probably, I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but we've just had a lot of good shows there.
And we're also has our one of many claim to fames is that we have the longest continuous street in the United States, which is Colfax Avenue. And so it's kind of,
I thought that was contested.
it is contested, but Denver's definitely got it.
Okay.
But it's like a kind of a gritty street. It's definitely you go far enough back and it had a lot of kind of strip clubs, super seedy places. But now I think it's just kind of like this funky street. So I like whenever we get to play a gig on Colfax.
Yeah, there's been quite a few gig spots along that stretch.
Yeah, a fair amount of small venues.
Mm-hmm.
That's sweet,
but fun.
Does the Coors taste better in Denver than it does?
It's
pressure.
It's exactly like going to Ireland and drinking Guinness. It's almost the same thing.
Is the factory tour worth doing?
I don't know. I've never done it.
It is. Well, you get free beer. Do you like free beer?
I do.
Do they still do that?
Yeah.
I want to.
I haven't done that one.
No.
I would be pretty offended if I went on a brewery tour and did not get free beer included.
Right.
They cut back because in the 70s it was you got to the end and you could it was all you could drink.
Yeah.
Now there's a limit.
I wonder why they cut back.
There was a brewery in the city I went to school in New Zealand, and at the end of the brewery tour, they gave you 30 minutes to pour your own drinks, as many as you could drink. So that was
oh boy,
a little challenge there.
Yeah, people took the challenge.
Home? I do want to do the Stranahan's whiskey tour there. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I've done that tour.
Yeah, I want
to
to check it out. It looks good. I like their whiskey, so.
Yeah, their whiskey is really amazing. I love it. But I haven't done the tour.
Yeah, I was reading that they do you can do a tour and you can also do a private tour and all that stuff. So, yeah, I was like, I get back out that way. I want to do that.
The last time I was in Denver, it was peak COVID, and I really wanted to do that tour, but they weren't doing tours at the time. So that was a bummer.
Yeah, that is sad.
Were they even open?
I think they were, but only you could order and then pick stuff up, like bottles or something. You couldn't even go in or something like that.
Yeah.
But Denver Brewing Company was open, and I spent the evening there. That is a great brewery.
Yeah.
Did you go to True Brewing?
Yeah.
That's where you got to go.
True or Ratio?
No, okay. I'm coming down in January again to Denver, so let me write these down.
There's some other metal themed breweries.
Black Sky
Brewery, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen their beer in California, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. True is probably the better. Ratio is really good, but True, if you're True is good if you're there for the metal beer. Their beer is the better one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd agree. True's really good. Yeah.
And that's the guy from Chemistry. Isn't
Yeah, I
it?
think the drummer is the brewer there. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Metal.
Yeah.
This is a cool looking brewery. I'm on their website now. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got some cool merch for sure.
They do. And chicken and chicken
And
apparently.
Oh yeah, they got hot chicken now, and it's actually amazing. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I've had it several times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like addictive.
There's a really cool pizza chain in Oregon, if you ever make it up there, called Sizzle Pie. And they're like also metal themed. They have like a jukebox in the store, but it's all like loaded with punk and metal. And then you can buy merch that has like it's ripoffs of like famous metal band logos, but with pizza.
Nice.
Yeah. And the pizza's fantastic. That's the bonus. The pizza's the bonus, but the theme is the cool part.
Well, yeah, now Denver has a Kuma's Corner, which started off in
It
Chicago.
closed.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I was at work the other day and I was like, it's not there anymore.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
They didn't just move or anything. It's
I
closed.
don't think so. I think it closed. Yeah.
That's too bad. I was gonna say, if you get a burger named after you, you know you've made it.
Hell yeah.
What did my mom order?
Oh yeah.
That might be a funny story, but
Yeah, the first time I went to Chicago, with Allison and I met her family, I forced them to go to Kuma's Corner, and they were just like blasting death metal the whole time. And then I think your mom ordered like the Plague Bringer or something like that. I don't know. It was just kind of surreal experience, but they all seemed to enjoy it.
Was it a bunch of like Rocky Mountain oysters on pizza?
Yeah. That sounds horrendous.
Yeah. Always
Well,
love asking her.
What's yeah, Brendan? Yeah, that's a good question. What is like quintessentially Denver that people need to try when they go there?
well, the Denver omelet, right?
I did have that.
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't know. We're all transplants, so it's kind of hard to say.
Have you guys done the Rocky Mountain oysters?
I haven't.
I have not.
I have not either. No. I mean,
It's like why is that a thing?
I don't know.
well,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to waste any part of the cow, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like we can waste that part. We don't
Right?
need to eat it. We can use it for something else. I don't know what else you can use it for, but
Hacky sacks.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Problem solved. You don't have to put it in your
Vegan hacky sacks.
It's anti-vegan.
Wait, you're right.
Anti-vegan hacky sacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh Lordy. Well, yeah. Where do we go to eat when we come and visit?
That's a tough one. I actually do a ton of cooking, so I don't usually
So we
eat
come
out
to
a
your
whole lot.
house.
Yeah.
Nice. I said, what are you cooking for us?
Well, if it's the summer, we'll definitely be grilling. If it's the winter, I don't know, eggplant parmesan.
Nice.
There's like a ton of really good like taco and breakfast burrito places. I'd say like, yeah, you've got to do that while you're here.
I live in San Diego, so I'm all about the tacos and burritos. So I'll definitely
yeah.
try some of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's usually I'm in Connecticut, so there's like usually like there's like okay, Tex-Mex places and whatnot. There's like a couple places that do some awesome tacos, but they're like I gotta drive like a half hour to get to them each, so it's like but when you're there, it's so good. They're awesome.
Here, people drive half an hour to Tijuana to get like the authentic tacos.
I mean, yeah, that'd be nice.
Straight from the source.
Yeah, I would say the thing I miss the most, growing up around Detroit, is like really good Mediterranean food.
All right.
That's what I would
Like.
There's
gyros
places here that
and-
people say is like good, but it's like not even in the same ballpark.
Taco.
Yeah, it's like it's edible, but it's not nearly the same.
Brendan, you got
Yeah.
anything else there?
I think we're good.
Cool. So, okay, we have a question we sometimes ask people, and it's a tough one, and it is going to put you on the spot. But if you could play support for any band, alive or dead, who would you open for?
Oof. There's a lot to choose from there.
Yeah, it's a toughie.
So anybody in history, huh?
Yeah, that could be currently active or deceased.
I don't know if I want to get too greedy.
Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, I could say something like that. I mean, it's cool to play a show, but then I don't know how cool it'd be to play a show and then get blown off the stage.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would pick something like at least some sort of realistic. But yeah, I mean, one of my favorite bands of all time is I mentioned them earlier, is a noise band called Steel Pole Bathtub. I think that would be amazing because they're, I mean, also a 3-piece, kind of noisy. Some of their stuff's kind of slow and heavy, but also like can be really abrasive and kind of trebly as well. But I mean, that would be like that would be a cool gig for me anyways.
Nice. Anyone else have a preference?
Typo Negative.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I think it'd be hilarious and cool to see Peter Steele play.
Oh yeah, man.
I wouldn't have
I don't
thought
know.
that was on your radar.
Yeah, I've just been listening to Typo a bit recently. I'm like, man, that guy.
Tried.
Yeah,
Nothing.
it's definitely like a hate it or love it type thing.
Yeah, I've tried. Like, what would you recommend? Give me one album. I'll listen to it again.
I mean, October Rust is
Okay.
is the one. That's like there. I feel like that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my favorite too.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of good songs on there. And there's I don't know. They're doomy, right?
Yeah, for sure. They're like gothic doom rock, bunch of
Yeah,
that stuff.
just lots of tongue-in-cheek stuff.
Have you ever listened to his previous band?
Carnivore?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that stuff's great.
Is that good?
That's
He's like
excellent.
throwing up into the toilet and shit in one of the songs.
Yeah, that stuff's aggressive.
Yeah, that first band is like, yeah, it's crazy like how that was, and then like I guess there's still some of that going on in Typo Negative, but it's like
More in the early stuff, like those first few albums had a bit more of that like aggressive edge to it, and then they kind of mellowed out as they went on.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, my brother and I, whenever we played in a band together, that was like Typo Negative and Carnivore was a lot of like the road music that we listened to.
Nice. Okay, so I'll ask the question slightly differently this time. Reasonably speaking, if there's a band that's currently active that you could see yourself maybe playing with, like who would that be? Is someone that you'd like to play with that's currently playing?
That's a good question.
Oh,
that is a good one.
yeah, I think like playing for like opening for Ohm would be a badass like just experience, and then also just I love their music, but then also feel like our sound would mesh pretty well with what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it would be awesome if Somatics asked this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a huge Slowmatics fan too. That would be
Me too.
actually super cool. Yeah, those guys definitely, they've got their sound dialed in, and yeah, those guys are amazing.
They really are. I love that.
Like when you say it, I want to steal that one. The first thing that came to my mind though was Windhand, but like I would say like Windhand or Slowmatics would be cool.
Windhand would be good, but Slowmatics I think would be more fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always like them and like Domecraft. I feel like that's a good band.
Yeah, that was actually a really good split record. Really complimentary.
The one
with really good.
Did you like the one with Yana Mama as well?
No,
that was I think that was a 7-inch.
Yeah,
it was a 7-inch.
But
okay.
Still same band. Or Somatics, but
yeah, and I thought it was interesting that Domecraft played was it a Stereo Lab cover? I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's definitely good.
Oh, I actually missed the Stonecraft one. I didn't even know they did this. All right.
Oh man, James, listen to it. It's good.
I've got listening for tomorrow then. There we go.
My 7-year-old son loves Domecraft.
I really like that last Stonecraft album, the one that they did the full length, but I haven't heard this. So yeah.
Yeah. What was it? End of Electricity or
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, a few years ago we took a trip to Ireland, and for some reason I had it in my head. I was like, oh, it would be super cool to see a Slowmatic show. Did not end up happening, but we did go to a pretty cool show with a band, Venus Sleeps, and they were really good. And I think they have a newer record as of a couple of years ago, but that's a band worth checking out too.
Awesome.
Ooh, if you could have anybody guest star in your band, who would that be?
It'd be cool to have Tony Iommi lay down a solo for sure. I mean, if Candlemass can get him to do it, why can't we?
Well, you guys
Right?
need some. You guys don't have an NFT, so you guys can get
Yeah.
an NFT. I have two more questions for you before we wrap it up. One
Sure.
is, as far as albums this year go, what have you all enjoyed? Like, what are your top listens from 2022?
That's a very good question. There's actually been a ton of good music coming out this year.
It has. It's been crazy.
Yeah, the first one that jumps to my head is Shroom Circle. They're a little bit kind of like Windhand, maybe more like a cult. Their album's pretty cool. And I think what else that's really jumping out at me.
Oh man.
The Mesa album's pretty good. Probably not quite as heavy as their earlier albums, but that's a good one. I think you might have a stumped on that one.
Yeah, I've been really bad about listening to new music. I'm not listening to a lot of old music recently. I have.
Hang on, Case. I was actually listening to the new Smashing Pumpkins album.
Any good?
It's all right. It's got its moments.
I did check out the first single, and then I was like, kind of almost sounds old school, but not quite.
Yeah, it's worth a listen. Check it out. Like I said, it's got its moments.
I feel like that's most Smashing Pumpkins albums, though.
Yeah,
Apart from like Melancholy and
yeah.
the
That
first one
album
called
I
Blues.
feel like is awesome. But
yeah, for me personally, they kind of died after Siamese Dream.
yeah,
And I still think Gish is like an amazing album.
It is. Well, you said you listened to some older stuff. What have you been listening to lately?
Just old country, man.
Nice.
Yeah, just a lot of old country, like Old Willie, Old Waylon.
Nice.
And,
always like that. Butchers and the Builders.
Oh, I love those
Builders
guys.
and the Butchers.
Builders and the Butchers. No, wait,
Yeah.
Butchers and the Builders.
Yeah, and I've actually been revisiting Low quite a bit after the death of Mimi Parker. Kind of missed out on probably their last several albums because they just kind of fell off my radar. So kind of getting into some of their later albums.
Yeah.
I think Things That We Lost in the Fire is kind of where they kind of tapered off for me and just kind of got into other sounds. But yeah, there's a lot of good music in there for sure.
That last one they did, Hey What, in like 2021 was pretty good.
Yeah, that one is the hardest for me personally to like wrap my head around. I'm still, I don't know, I'm still into like guitar music and stuff like that. So that one's a little bit, I'm starting to warm up to it, but yeah, that one's like kind of cool and really different.
It's very different.
Yeah.
Okay, so, sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was just
I
going
was
to
gonna
say,
say there's just a few bands that are like in constant rotation. Like we were talking about Slowmatics. I mean, I probably listen to those guys weekly, and I think they're almost done like wrapping up recording a new album. And then I know actually the latest Conan album is really good too.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fire.
You know, it's kind of crazy. I mean, all their stuff is kind of samey, but this newest one's a little kind of special. It's a little, yeah, it's really good.
It is. That first single they put out, like I listened to that so many times.
Yeah, is that the one with the? Have you seen the video for that one?
Yes, with the
The
mountain
Vietnam
faces and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
the one.
That's a super cool video for sure.
It is. So my last question is, anyone who's listening at home, is there anything that they should be checking out of yours? Anything they should be looking forward to? What should they be doing?
Yeah, I mean, just on the horizon, hopefully we'll have a EP out and then hoping to actually get a single out by February, and it's going to be a cover tune. And if all goes well, we're gonna hopefully press this EP on 10-inch records. And then anybody who's out west, I don't know, next year personally, I just want to start playing more regionally, just like one-off shows, and maybe playing Denver a little less. But I would say those are probably the biggest things.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and coming on the show. And again, congratulations on how well the new album's been received. Once the next album comes out, we'd love to have you back on to talk about that one.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. And everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. And we have another guest next week.